Welcome back to Next Gen Console Watch, our show following all the news and rumors on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles. I'm Seth Macy, who you've probably never heard of. And as always, I am joined by Ryan McCaffrey, host of IGN's Xbox Podcast Unlocked.
Yes, Seth, as always, because you're here every single week, as you just noted.
I'm an automaton. I just read what they tell me to read. I am also joined by Jonathon Dornbush, host of IGN's PlayStation Podcast Beyond. Hello, Jonathan.
If I knew that, I would have rewritten the intro to the show very differently. But Seth, it's good to see you as always.
Likewise. We are less than a week away from Gamescom 2021, where we should be getting a slew of next-gen game announcements. We know Xbox has a show on Tuesday, August 24th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So that is the perfect place to start. Ryan, what do you predict we're going to be seeing from Xbox next week?
First and foremost is the release date for Halo Infinite. We still don't have that yet. We've just been given the fall/holiday 2021 window. So unless that's changed, and we have no reason to think it has changed at this point in time, we just got the first multiplayer flight test, which a lot of you out there probably participated in. Everybody seemed to super enjoy that. So the game is coming, and it is probably time. This would be a good opportunity for them to say exactly when this fall we're going to get that. Plus, their next biggest game of the fall, Forza Horizon 5, it got a lot of stage time at E3 this year, and justifiably so. It looked incredible. It won the Game of the Show award from the collective group of media critics, of which IGN is a part. So I think we'll see some more gameplay there. And then you start to get into some things I think that we haven't really thought about or even potentially seen in a lot of these cases for a while, that it is probably time to get an update on. In the case of Age of Empires 4, that's a game that has an October release date, and we haven't seen a ton of that. So I would expect a gameplay showcase of some kind there during the conference. Psychonauts 2, that's out the week of Gamescom. So, maybe we won't see it because it's out, but maybe we'll get a launch trailer or something there. And then Sable, which is one of the sort of triple I indie titles that Microsoft has an exclusive deal on that's out in September. We should probably see that if I had to guess. Two more I'm going to give you, and I promise I'll stop talking. And that is, these are the two that are just straight MIA. That's like, well, maybe this is a good opportunity for Microsoft to finally give us an update on those. The first one is Bright Memory Infinite, which was the standout game of Microsoft's very first next-gen showcase. It was that third-party one that they did back in May of 2020. So
1,000 years ago. Yes.
Yeah, we're pushing a year and a half since we've really gotten a proper showing of that. And is it coming out this year? They had indicated it was at the beginning of the year. Plans, of course, can change. The pandemic's tough for all developers. So if that's still coming soon, I would expect to see something on that. And then finally, I promise I'm almost done talking. Another MIA game that we really haven't heard about in a long time, Crossfire X, which is the sort of complete version of that popular first-person shooter. It's very Counter-Strike-y. There was a limited beta of it on Xbox that I participated in last year on the multiplayer side. And then Remedy of Control and Max Payne and Alan Wake fame is doing a single-player campaign there, which I took a hands-off demo of last year as well. We just we've heard nothing about Crossfire in over a year. So that was originally supposed to be out in 2020, and now we're nearing the end of 2021 without a word on that. So that's the list. I think there's enough there where it's expected stuff, maybe some stuff that's a little unexpected in terms of things that have been in the dark for a while. So I'm hoping for a good hour or so from Microsoft.
Yeah, the upside to holding off on so many announcements is I could just be banking them all for Gamescom and then just wow us all. Real quick, I know you said you were done talking, but what prediction are you most hoping comes true?
Well, I got to get that Halo release date.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of my personal most anticipated games of the year. And it's also, I mean, there's a lot of first-person shooter competition this year. And I'm not saying that Halo can't stand up to them, but I hope it doesn't end up being just like a traffic jam of AAA first-person shooters. We've got Call of Duty is always that's getting announced. I guess actually it'll have been announced by the time this show airs. So probably with the usual release date of late October or the beginning of November there. And then Battlefield 2042, that's out in, I believe, late October. So is Halo are they ready to just kind of jump ahead of those guys and do like a late September thing like Halo 3 did back in 2007? Or are they going to push like to maybe closer to Thanksgiving just to get away from those games? So yeah, I just want to know when I can finally play Halo, because it's been 6 years since the last mainline Halo game. And I'm just so eager to see if Infinite is going to be awesome, because I very badly want it to be.
Yeah, I think everybody is right there with you. Jonathan, as of this taping, PlayStation has not announced a presence at Gamescom, but what do you think they could or should show this year?
I mean, first I'll say I'm glad Ryan had so much to say about Xbox, because I don't have that much to say about PlayStation for Gamescom. We're unfortunately in a weird place where, at least in the near future, we know PlayStation has the next God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, and the next Gran Turismo. We know those are all coming at some point, probably within the next year, I think is safe to say, depending on when Gran Turismo and God of War hit. They still haven't officially delayed Horizon. I know that was a big story a week or two ago, but PlayStation themselves hasn't come out and said anything about the Horizon Forbidden West release date bumping out of 2021. I say that now, of course, probably between taping and airing, they'll say that. But, having a delay like that and softening the blow, maybe with a trailer for Horizon, I certainly wouldn't mind if something like that showed up in Keeley's show, for example. But I honestly don't expect a lot of major PlayStation announcements to come this year, at least not from the first parties. PlayStation has very, very clearly in the last couple of years decided to do things on their own terms. And so I don't feel like they are beholden to, announcing whatever's next for Insomniac, or announcing the next game from Team Asobi, or, any of their other studios. I don't think they feel the need to do that at Gamescom, right or wrong. I don't think they're going to necessarily do that, but I could still see them having a presence, because back at Jeff Keighley's opening night live, which was E3 adjacent, if not, it wasn't officially E3, but it was right before it. PlayStation did take part in a smaller way. They showed a couple of indies off. They announced the sequel to Assault and Sanctuary, talked about Chicory coming out that day, and then they announced a partnership with Deviation Games, which is a newer studio, working with them to exclusively publish their first project. I wouldn't be shocked if we see another project like that. Herman Hulst recently, within the last few months, talked about how they really are emphasizing these third-party exclusive partnerships that they're doing. They have more in the works. They have, a whole suite of PlayStation 5 games coming up that they haven't announced under the PlayStation Studios banner. And so to announce another partnership like that with a smaller studio made up of veterans of the game industry, that feels like the type of announcement we may see from PlayStation at a show like this. I wouldn't be surprised if they have another like that at Keighley's show, maybe a couple indie spotlights here and there. But other than a Horizon, trailer with a softened release date delay, I don't really see them using Gamescom as the place to debut a brand new first-party game, or to be the first debut of God of War. I feel like PlayStation probably thinks they could hold a state of play whenever they want to do that God of War reveal and kind of own the conversation, right, and have all the space and not have to compete with everything else happening at Gamescom. So I think we'll see a little bit of a presence from them, but I wouldn't expect a ton.
Yeah. I don't know if you're like me. I love when PlayStation does a direct. It's nice. It's succinct. I kind of miss seeing them around at these shows. So
I love them being a part of it. There is the joy of having everyone go back to back to back in a show like this. I think PlayStation has just kind of decided to chart their own path with the way they do presentations these days. And it's something we actually talked about on Podcast Beyond this week, is there's a lot of ups and downs of silence, and then they'll speak for like a week, and then we don't hear from PlayStation for a little bit. But, the PS5s are selling as fast as they can. Ratchet & Clank and Returnal are two, like, I would say probably Game of the Year favorites for a lot of people. It's not like Sony's been not doing anything.
Right.
I just don't think feel like they need to be at the show, and whether or not that's the right move, we'll see as we go down the line. But it is nice to have them be a part of it, for sure.
Yeah, and I think they're doing pretty well So they can kind of call the shots right
It's
now.
not bad.
Doing okay. But let's talk about some of these third-party games. We know that Ubisoft is going to be there. So what do you think? Far Cry 6, we're going to see some more of that. We don't, I believe, have a hard release date on that, or am I
We
incorrect?
do.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, I believe it's October 6th. I'll have to fact check it real quick while you're talking, but I know it's early.
Thanks for doing my job for me, Ryan.
Yeah, I believe it's the first week of October because we're planning. I know we were like, oh, we need to look out for upcoming releases. I feel like Far Cry 6 is a given. They've definitely not been shy about showing that game as well. It's something that Ubisoft has been trotting out quite a bit at all of their presentations and any big Ubisoft Connects or E3 related stuff. So it feels like this being the last big show before it comes out. It feels like a given that we'll see.
It was close. It's October 7th. One day.
Oh, okay. Wow. Impressive. Yeah, I feel like Far Cry 6 has been sort of the go-to game at every show. Like, here's a really awesome looking game that everyone can be happy about. It's called Far Cry 6. What about Avatar? We're excited to visit the Na'vi. Wow.
Max Scoville is.
Max Scoville is very excited, but I guess I think we'll see anything about it.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't expect it just yet. I feel like a show like Gamescom gives them a good chance to focus on their upcoming fall slate. So I think we might see stuff like that, Writers Republic and whatnot. But knowing Avatar's a little further away, I feel like they might save the big deep dive for a little bit further. But, Avatar obviously does have huge appeal around the world. It wasn't just a hit in North America. So an international game show isn't the worst place to do it. But I feel like it might just be a little too early to see more of that game.
It was the biggest movie of all time, which is unbelievable to me this day. But enough about Avatar. We got other Gamescom partners, Activision. What do you think we're going to see there? I can't possibly imagine what Activision could be bringing to the show.
From the deep portfolio of Activision, what do you choose? They've got they've never waited this long to announce Call of Duty before, so it seems a given we're going to see something from that. So that's the one that's like the surest bet, like the Vegas odds. It's you got to put up a lot of money to win anything in that betting scenario.
Right. EA is also going to be there. Jonathan, what do you think EA's got in store for us other than like a FIFA game, maybe?
Well, yeah, of course, definitely FIFA, I think will have a pretty big presence at Gamescom. But yeah, I feel like this is, again, similar to, Call of Duty. And speaking to Ryan's point about the fall having a lot of big shooters, I feel like this is another great opportunity to highlight Battlefield. It was such a big game for them during their EA Play Live, and it's been doing so well sort of across the board every time they debut a new trailer. So that feels like a given to see here. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe a couple of the smaller games coming out, like in the EA Originals portfolio. Knockout City, I think it's been a bit of a surprise hit for them, and I know like they either just recently or are about to go into a new season of it, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see updates there. Lost in Random from Zoink is out in the beginning of September, and that game looks really, really cool from the original side. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see a couple smaller things from them as well there, too.
Right, yeah. We also have Bandai Namco and Sega, our other Gamescom partners. And I think Bandai has a game that people are interested in, but I can't be sure about that.
Can't put your finger on it. Yeah,
I can't put my finger on that.
No one can guess.
Well, he got Elden Ring for his E3 thing, so there's a reasonable chance that it would get something else at his opening night live, which would be airing live on IGN. So.
And it's coming out in January as well. So, there's only so much, not that Elden Ring, I think, needs the promotion. I think it's been doing pretty well on its own when there was nothing to show. I think with this being such a small lead up, we really only have that 4-minute-ish trailer of footage to go from it. I do think if they did a deep dive, they could probably even do something where, they do a developer interview and just show a couple snippets. It would be huge. Everyone is so excited for that game. They can show whatever they want. And I think it'll go over very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both. Let's move on to the poll results from 2 weeks ago's poll, which was, which Unreal Engine 5 game are you most excited for? And at the commanding lead was BioShock 4 with 49%. Yes.
Cool.
But the follow-up, bit of a surprise. I didn't expect to see this. 22.9% of respondents said they are most excited for Gears of War 6, which is kind of a big deal there as an exclusive, followed by Dragon Quest 12, Hellblade 2, at the very end there. So I love Dragon Quest, so I'm looking forward to Dragon Quest. But Ryan, what game are you looking forward to out of that?
It's a good
batch?
group. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
I'm a little bummed that Hellblade didn't get a little more love. But then again, Microsoft has only shown it once. So I think once it just doesn't have a lot of awareness. I mean, it was the first Xbox Series X game shown back at the Game Awards 2019. So yeah, I think that one's just sort of out of people's minds right now. And there will be plenty of chances for Microsoft to remind people what that game is all about. The possibility of a new BioShock, we know it's from a new development team. So I hope they're able to carry it on just as well as like the new generation of id Software, not the original guys who've kind of all moved on, was able to do such a great job of bringing back and reinventing Doom. I hope we get a similar creative just explosion from this new team that really reinvigorates BioShock and brings that back. I can't argue with our poll voters in that. A new BioShock definitely has a lot of potential.
Yeah, that's a tall order to have to come into the fourth entry in that game series. So I wish them nothing but the best. Our new poll for next time: what game do you hope to see at Gamescom next week? I think I already know what everyone's going to answer, but I'm going to read them anyway. Elden Ring, Far Cry 6, Horizon Forbidden West, Halo Infinite, Call of Duty Vanguard, or other. Of course, we love the others. We talk about it in the comments. So Ryan, Jonathan, thank you so much for helping me to get through this very first nerve-wracking time that I hosted such a big and important video game program. But that will do it for this edition of Next Gen Console Watch. So again, thank you both. We will be back next Friday at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern with more PS5 and Xbox Series X news. See you then.